James, are you on since you're supposed to run the meeting?
Can anybody hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can hear you now.
Hello? Good evening.
Hello, we can hear you,
Can
James.
anyone hear me?
Good
Yeah,
evening.
James, we can hear you fine. This is Linda.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, I don't think James can hear us, so maybe we should just start the meeting with roll call. Would that work, Linda?
Works for me. And why don't you run the meeting if James can't hear us? Because I don't have the book to even follow along.
Okay, let's get started. James, when you can hear us, just let us know. Let's do roll call. We know James. James, are you?
Yeah. Can you
Okay.
hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. So if you want to take,
Okay.
that's great. We're just doing roll call.
Okay, that's fine. James Carter.
Kim,
Linda Camp.
Linda,
Go ahead, Kim.
Kim Selachire. Does everyone else want to introduce themselves?
Tammy Fulbright by state.
Tom Curran by state.
Paul Hampel, St. Louis County.
Colby Roach by state.
Kevin Scott by state.
Ted Zimmerman by state.
Adam Spector, St. Louis County.
Ray Golick, St. Louis County.
Pete Morrow, St. Louis County PD.
Okay, is that all the members we have present?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, we can go ahead and start. I guess we can start the meeting off. As you know, Deborah is unavailable today, so she asked me to run the meeting. And I guess we can start off with new business with Metro first. Anybody from Metro want to chime in on contract negotiations for us?
Sure, I can do that.
Wait, James, do you want to
Yes.
start off with the old business first?
Oh, I'm sorry. I went past my menu. Let me back up. Okay, old businesses first. County Council update from Chris. Is Chris Graham on the call?
I don't believe he is.
Okay, can someone else give us an update on the final vote on Bill 176?
I can do that.
Okay, Tommy.
All right, very good. So the final bill 176 did pass. It was a 4-2 vote. Even one of the negatives was that he was pleased with Bi-State's work, but because of the splits, he was voting no. So even though we did have 2 no votes, I would say one of them was somewhat qualified, and it seemed that the council was overall pleased with Bi-State's direction. There was just more complication with how the taxing splits went. But we worked through that issue cooperatively, and I think we got through it. And as a matter of fact, we saw a letter today moving the money appropriately, and we're off to the races, so to speak. So that was it.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda, we have a commission liaison, Paul Hampel. Is Paul on the call?
I am. Thank you, Mr. Carter, and welcome,
welcome.
Chairwoman Carter. I see that you have joined us as well. And
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, go ahead.
I did not put the emphasis on the first COT.
Oh, I know. That's all right.
Pater. Okay.
Yeah.
Just
I'll
a
go with
couple of
that.
items. Just a couple of items. Dr. Page announced some good news last week for St. Louis County residents. He noted that according to a report conducted by the Missouri Chamber of Commerce, crime was down in the county last year. Crime is actually down overall by 6%. Homicides are down 15%. And, excuse me, aggravated assaults with firearms are down 13%. And on the COVID front, the Department of Health issued a warning this week that COVID numbers continue to climb. The rolling 7-day average is currently 393 cases, new cases per day. And that represents, let's see, a 3.2% increase over a 7-day period. The DPH notes that this number does not include positive results of most at-home COVID tests, which many people are using. But given this recent trend, as well as the progress of new subvariants of the virus that causes COVID-19 across the country, the DPH continues to strongly recommend that residents use all the tools available to slow the spread of the disease, and that includes getting up to date on vaccines, including boosters, wearing masks in public indoor places, and isolating and getting tested if you experience any symptoms of COVID-19. And of course, if you feel sick, please stay home and get tested. And those are the highlights from the 9th floor this week, Mr. Cotter and Madam Chair Carter.
All right, thank you very much. We'll move on to our next order of business, which is new business. And that brings up Metro. Can someone enlighten us on?
I'll just get us started, and I'm
Okay,
going
that's
to.
fine.
And this is Talby Roach again, and of course, most of our update, actually, especially with contract negotiations, on point for contract negotiations, is actually Chuck Stewart, and Chuck is on the line. I am going to peel off from the call today, and Chuck's going to handle you most of the way. So I did want to pause just to be sure there wasn't any specific questions of me. But Chuck will be taking this. Let me just pause just for a minute, just to be sure there's not a specific question for Talby.
Any questions, anyone?
I don't have any, thank you.
Very good. So I'm going to ask Chuck Stewart to take it from here. Chuck, do you mind giving the commission a quick update on contract negotiations?
Not at all. Thank you very much. I think, as you know, our contracts with Local 788 ATU, which represents our operators and our mechanics and our clerical employees, that contract expired on June 30, as well as our contract with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. We've been negotiating very successfully with IBEW, had a number of meetings with them, and we've come to some pretty good consensus on a number of items. We are still trying to pin down actual wage increases. But other than that, we're pretty much done with that contract. 788 has been a totally different kind of issue. We've had very difficult time bringing them to the table. They have made some wage demands and have been refusing to negotiate any further on any non-wage type items, operational type items. Basically, there's been little activity since May. We currently have an agreement with them to bring in a mediator for a meeting scheduled in August 18th and 19th. And at that time, we hope to make significant progress on that contract. So that's kind of where we are at this point. I know that you're aware that there was a job action a few weeks ago. Our operators basically did a sick out, a blue flu kind of thing on us, which we were able to handle. And we've had no such action again since then. A lot of that, I think, is attributable to the fact that our management team has been conducting open forums in our various facilities, talking to our operators directly, trying to determine what the issues and what the needs are as we move forward. So I think we're developing a much better relationship through that process and hope to take the things that we've learned through that to the negotiations in August. So I think there's light at the end of the tunnel, and we'll continue to move forward in order to reach agreement with both entities in the very near future. Any specific questions that I may answer concerning that?
I think, Chuck, I read somewhere where you had some new hires. Is that true? Some
Some
people
new
that took
hires?
advantage of your incentives to hire?
I'm not sure I understand exactly what that question is concerning.
I thought
Uh,
that we were offering an incentive to people to
Oh, I
come
can,
on board.
okay. Oh, sure. Okay, so we do have an incentive program out there. You mean positive advantage, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we have an incentive program out there. We are offering a hiring bonus of $2,000. It's basically over a year, over a year that this incentive will be paid out. You know, right out, there's a part of it right after training is completed, and then 6 months. But so yes, that has been very successful for us. I think that in your materials, we have some specific information about that. Yeah. So we've had 325 new hires since that program began. And 105 bonuses have been paid to date, the first installments of those. We also have a referral bonus program for our existing employees, and we have 40 referral bonuses that have been paid to date. So this is helping us to recruit and to hire, and we are working on other programs to continue that process and improve upon our ability to hire more employees. One of our key issues right now is the lack of sufficient operating manpower, which impacts everything for us. So, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I guess the next item on our agenda is status of the infrastructure bill. Anyone care to comment? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Are you referring to the ARPA
I think so.
funds? That would be in the hands of the county council, which met the Saturday previous and voted to set up a smaller committee to investigate how the fund should be spent, but they still have not allocated how they want that money to be spent going forward. They're still in the process of doing that, Mr. Cotter.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is ridership trends. Anybody care to comment on that?
Sure, I will take care of that. So I am giving you information through May of this current fiscal year. Well, fiscal year actually ended in June, but these are May stats. For Metrolink, our current ridership is 5.9 million. It's up 18% from the previous year at this time. But you have to note that 2021 was not necessarily a stellar year for us, but we are showing improvement over that. In previous years, in 2020, our Metrolink ridership was over 10 million boardings. Metro Bus, our current boardings for this fiscal year through May are 10.6 million, up 1.1% from 21, but again, down significantly from 2020. And for Colorado, we're at about 200, let me see here. Trying to confirm that number, 200,000 boardings or trips this year, down 15% from the previous year. So we're still suffering from ridership trends and also from the ability to service some of our runs as it relates to Colorado.
I don't think any of us received a booklet.
You didn't?
No, I didn't receive one, and I tried reading it online, but I never received one. Go ahead, who's speaking?
Well, I am sure that they were mailed out. I don't have the specific date ahead of me, but I think that was one of the reasons that the meeting was pushed to this week versus last week. But I know that they went out, and I know electronic copies were also sent out.
Yeah, I got the electronic copy. I read that. Okay, I guess we,
James,
uh,
can I ask a
go ahead.
question? This is Kim, and I did get the book in the mail. It arrived on Friday, but maybe that's because I'm downtown in the same area. Chuck, question: the 15% decline in ridership on Call a Ride over prior year, is that due to lack of operators?
It is due to lack of operators as well as to vehicles. So
Okay.
we're having a double whammy in that situation.
Okay, so you don't have the Call a Ride vehicles and you don't have the operators for that.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, anyone care to comment on caller ride stats?
I just gave Call a Ride stats instead in terms of ridership. There's something else in particular that you'd like to know about Call a Ride?
No, I think you're right.
No,
Okay.
we're still, can you define what a unique active rider is? I asked about it last month. Nobody was real sure, but you gave us statistics.
I thought we sent something out concerning that. So it's for a period of time. So what you'll see is that we'll give you statistics on the total number of, let's say, boardings or trips. And the unique active rider is that a lot of those trips are by the same person. So the unique active rider is the actual unique person, although they may have a number of trips or boardings.
Any more questions? Okay, we'll move on to finances.
I can send something else out about that because I got a very lengthy answer from my chief of operations from Call a Ride, and I can share that with you.
Okay, that'd be nice.
Right.
Finances?
Good
Anyone?
afternoon. Yes, my name is Tammy Fulbright. So I will go through, our fiscal year ends in June. So the financials that were sent to you are in your electronic booklet is through May. And so what I really wanted to talk about, as you've been noticing in some of the months recently, that our net income is looking like it's at about 87 million. And so I thought what I would do is I'd kind of back you into that number. And then next time we meet, I'll talk to you more about year end and where did we end up. So at the 87 million, included within that number of net income, so revenue less expenses, what is included there is the secure platform money of 5 million. So that revenue is showing up there, but really it's going to be used for the secure platform project. But because of accounting rules, we have to show it as revenue. So there's 5 million of that there. And then if you remember, we also drew in about 65 million, actually a little more than that, of CARES funding so that we could be eligible to compete for more or additional federal funding. And then what else I think is making up that number? So this is where we're coming into year end and really looking at where we think we're going to end the year. So there would be the 87 less 70 million. So there's 17 million left. And so what we've been having problems with for the last year or so is really getting parts in. So we have sat down with the guys over in our operations area and maintenance and talked to them about what should we really be accruing for the year. So right now I just have a plug number in there, which might be a little bit high, but what I'm thinking that number is going to be close to or around is possibly 10 million, which is a lot. And then we have to also think where are we going to end up for the year end. So I've got another 7 million plugged in June because as it's year end, we normally see higher expenses in the last quarter of the year. And so we'll be looking closely at that. So what I'm hopeful for is that when we get together next time, I'll be able to give you more solid numbers as to where did we end up the year. We won't be through our audit, but I can at least probably answer questions better and give you more information as to how we ended up and where everything ended up landing, whether it was accrued for or whether or not we had expenses and how did those divvy out between our expenses for the year. and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, questions, anyone?
I don't have any today. Thank you.
Okay. If there are no questions, we'll move on to marketing. Anyone here care to comment on marketing?
Yeah, this is Ted Zimmerman. How are you today?
That's fine, Ted.
So one of the questions that was on here was about free food on the Move program. So just want to bring that to you as far as your attention. And you should be receiving most of the media releases from Patty Beck on these different things that are going on. But Food on the Move is a program that we have with St. Louis Area Food Bank. And so it focuses on Saturdays in the summer on several different locations. One is St. Charles or Rock Road, which is the Rock Road station, the Riverview Transit Center, and then also the North Hanley Transit Center. So we partner with the St. Louis Area Food Bank on this one. We've seen some good success from it when we've been doing it this spring. We've done it in prior years as well. So it's an excellent opportunity for customers and non-customers just to experience our transit centers, but also come by and meet with the St. Louis Area Food Bank and grab some food as well. So that's the first piece. In your books, if you always, marketing is always the last tab in your book. When we look at May, as far as a recap, we see that there's a little bit over 16 million, the positive and neutral reach on it. The publicity value is at about $1.3 million. When we look at share of sentiment, we see that about 89% of it really falls into the positive and the neutral side, where 11% would sit in the negative. So in the book, we just kind of cover different pieces that really talk about the positives and negatives in there. Obviously, Twitter and TV and online are really the pieces that drive a lot of what we do. In May, we focused on several different pieces. One is that May is National Tourism Month. So we did a staycation piece and promoted that heavily within the St. Louis region, talking about ways that customers and non-customers can use Metro to visit their favorite attractions throughout the region. And then we also had 3 other promotions that we were working on that touch on digital billboards, print, and also on TV in some instances. One is More Smiles Per Gallon, which is our promotion that really focuses on gas prices and using Metro instead of using your car from that perspective. Recruiting is the other piece that we really focused on, as we've been doing probably over the last 12 months or so. And then the last piece that really has a slant towards safety and security, but it also talks about what our customers think of Metro Transit. And these are the Sam on the Go videos. And they continue to show good numbers as far as when we see our digital and our screening from that perspective. Your book also shows all the targeted pieces as far as video, how those are successful, lead generation, how we look at devices and generating those pieces. And then the last part of it are just really a lot of pieces that show how we're using the digital assets. Also on Friday the 13th in May, we hosted another block party called Metrofest. This one was at the Shrewsbury Lansdowne Metrolinx Transit Center. And so we had Hot 104.1 out there with us. Chuck Stewart was one of our special guests out there, greeting our customers and talking to people as well. And so we've got those scheduled kind of on a quarterly basis as we look through it. Anyway, that's it for marketing, unless you have any questions.
Questions, anyone?
No, thank you.
If not, we'll move on to St. Louis County Transportation. Is Adam Spector here with us?
I am here.
Thank you.
I guess, we continue to look for funding opportunities in all the federal legislation. A lot of the things that have been coming up are kind of geared towards larger projects than what we typically do. But we continue to look for opportunities that will kind of fit with our system. As far as the things that we are applying for, the things we're going after, we are being a little more aggressive than we have in the past as far as looking at those opportunities and expanding the scope of some of our projects. So a lot of the projects in the past where we've just done overlays of the road, repair and resurfacing type thing. Then we started adding in the bus pads, so we coordinate with Metro on those locations to get bus pads put in with our projects, as well as curb ramps. And now that we have our action plan for biking and walking, we're trying to incorporate elements of that in as well. And, we're working towards some ADA improvements as well. So, a lot of the projects that we're applying for going forward are going to include more things regarding sidewalks, trying to get bike paths in, or bike lanes or shared use paths, those types of improvements, along with the traditional bus pads that we've been doing, the bus stop landing pads. But as a result, that means the projects are getting bigger, which means they get more expensive. So that means that ultimately we're able to do fewer of them in a particular year. But, we are continuing to look for more sources of funding and try to leverage what money we have to get as much federal money back as we can, so that we can do as much project as we can with everything that we're doing.
All right, that
With
completes.
that, any questions or?
I have
any- Yeah.
one question. How many bus pads have you completed so far as a part of the county project?
I do not have that number. I'd have to look into that. If you have like a particular time frame in mind that you're looking for, I can investigate that for the next meeting.
I would just be curious to know how many, even over the last couple of years, how many bus pads have actually been included in the county projects?
Okay, yeah, we can look into that and see if we can report a number at the next meeting,
Thanks.
if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Any more questions? Okay, we can move on to security. Captain Morrow or Kevin Scott, anyone from security?
Captain, do you want to start?
Hey, Kevin, thank you. I really don't have much at all. Our numbers are pretty consistent from last month. And Kevin and I have been trying to hook up. We got a number of things to discuss along the way here. But in terms of numbers from St. Clair and the city and us, we're all about the same right now. And that's all I got.
That's all you have. Okay, it looks like that's all on our agenda.
James, did you
anyone?
want me to elaborate, did you want me to elaborate on the incident numbers for security?
Yes, why don't?
And then
Yes.
also, okay. So there's two things on the agenda that I'd like to touch on. First and foremost, as you all know, we put out a quarterly incident report. The data which corresponds with the calendar quarter. And so second quarter of 2022 is being compiled now by our analyst, and we will release that just as we've done in the previous quarters. And I'll make sure that I email that out to you as soon as it's done. So right now, I don't have an idea or a gauge on where we are system-wide for the number of incidents in the last quarter, but I will soon have that information and get it out to you. I'm getting some feedback also from someone. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, that might have been me. A call came through for me.
And then the second item that was under security related to the St. Louis City Sheriff's.
Let me call you back. Okay.
The St. Louis City Sheriff's. This is I talked to Mrs. Carter earlier today because I was unclear on why this was on the agenda. And very simply, this is an issue that's unrelated to bi-state, Metro, or St. Louis County. This is a process that the city sheriff's department's going through to meet certain training obligations in the state, and doesn't have any impact on us, so we can forego any other discussion on that. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Is there anything else we would like to recap on? Anybody? Any more questions?
I don't have any more today. Thanks, James.
Well, we got through this meeting without without Deborah. So thanks for being patient with me. I guess we'll adjourn, and our next meeting will be held on September the 12th. And hope everybody has a good vacation.
Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.